building community through amplifying the voices and vision of innovative educational leaders, practitioners, and learners from South Africa.
Ifikile imini enkulu. Welcome to JGF Amplified, amplifying voices of thinkers and doers in the South African education system. I am Matabo Tladi, and today we have a special guest with us, and we will be talking all things leadership. Our theme, as you would have ascertained from our last episode, is leading today for tomorrow, and today we'll be digging deeper within the space of mentorship, the value of mentoring teachers for leadership positions. And today we have an expert in the field. She was a complete star at our Summit Connected 2022. She ran a workshop to great acclaim with our candidate fellows. We have Utamagwini Dolweni with us today. Utamagwini.
Thank you so much for having me, Matabo. I'm super excited. I feel like there should be like, bah, 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 bah. Pew, 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 pew. I'm very, very happy to be back. I really enjoyed my time last time with the fellows. So I'm very excited to be here, excited to chat.
And speaking of fellows, what were your takeaways from Summit 2022?
Oh, I feel like the fellows really know what they're doing. I just hearing the kind of questions they were asking me, how they were pushing some of the things that I was saying to sort of like, understand it from their context. They think very clearly that, and they understand very clearly that, the children that they are going to teach are going to be a very different breed. So already their thinking is in the right frame of mind. You know what I mean? They already understand that teaching is really about growing and getting better every single time, and they already have a very clear understanding of that. So what you guys are doing, by having these sessions is like really giving them the tools to be able to implement that and put that into action. So I'm very excited about your guys' fellows. They are a great bunch.
Our ethos one of our key ethos in the organization is to follow the puck where it's going.
Yeah.
So forward thinking is a thing that we invest within ourselves as an organization, and we try as much as possible to share that with the candidate fellow. But with that, though, you can get a tad despondent when looking to the future and thinking about your own personal preparedness when thinking and engaging with what could be ahead. But before we get into the nitty-gritties of the topic today, tell our listeners, Baluka Magwini, Ngowapi Utamagwini, and what do you do?
Yes, Utamagwini, Gowasekonga, King Williamstown.
That's
King
right.
Willie, stand up.
Stand up.
I was born in the Eastern Cape. I'm from the Eastern Cape originally. My family is all there. I went to school there. I went to Rhodes University. And then after Rhodes University, I joined an organization called Teach South Africa that placed me and really just threw me into the education world, because that was never really my plan. I was going to be a big-time journalist, but that's a story for another day. Threw me into this world of being in a classroom. I had no prior experience of teaching or anything. I just had my degree. And so that really got me into the education space, and that's where the bug really hit me, which is really interesting because my teaching experience was not a good one. It's not one that I think if somebody else experienced it, that would keep them in education. I did not really have the mentorship that I needed to really help me put my plan into action, to really help me support my learners, where I can leave the day feeling like, okay, you know what, today I made an impact, even if it's on 2 or 3 learners. It was very overwhelming because I had very few resources in terms of textbooks and classroom resources. The classrooms were too big. There would be 40, 50 children in the classroom. It was a very, very difficult teaching experience, and the only kind of support I would get would be from my HOD, but they are not necessarily giving me the kind of coaching they are. When I say coaching, I'm saying that they come in, they check to see that I'm doing what is on the syllabus, and then they're out. They come and check to see that I've
essentially
done
doing
my
their
test.
job.
Pretty much.
Essentially doing their job.
Pretty much. And this is, I read something that said, there's a big difference between thinking about what you can do and actually doing it. And I think sometimes as teachers, we get stuck in this performance.
Yes.
Right? So if I can hit 1, 2, and 3 things when my supervisor comes in, then I know that this is what I'm going to do every single time they come, because that's what works. But now you're stuck in doing something that A, might not be effective for your teaching anymore.
Yeah.
B, might not even be impactful or help your learning environment in any way, shape, or form, but you're just performing, you're going through the motions of just doing your job because that's what you have seen worked. And I think sometimes teachers forget that we need continuous support. We need to be always getting that support, because and it doesn't matter you've been teaching for 5 years, for 5 months. Teaching is a dynamic thing. The children are changing. The world is changing. We are essentially preparing children to go and be able to maneuver the world. And is the way that we are doing it, is that going to fully prepare them for what's out there? You know what I mean? You got to think about that as opposed to just thinking, oh, we've got a test, I got to prepare the test. What is this test going to do in the future for these children?
And your work now speaks to that gap.
Yes.
That thinking, doing, there's that liminal space between the thinking and the doing, right? So please explain to us, what's the difference between coaching teachers versus coaching school leaders? Is there a strategic difference between the two?
100%. We actually do have at Insta, we have programs that we separate specifically for school leaders and for also coaching student teachers and teachers in general. So when it comes to coaching the student leaders, definitely the content of what we are coaching or what we're talking about is going to be different from the teachers. With the teachers, we might be focusing a lot more on content, how to teach content, how to manage children, how to work with parents. Student leaders are the people who are driving the culture in the school. They are the ones who need to be walking. What is it? Talk the walk, walk the talk.
Yes,
they have to, exactly that. They have to be the people who are building the climate, creating the climate in the school. If you want a school that is functional, if you want a school that is inclusive, where teachers feel like they have a voice, you have to model that. So we show school leaders, how do you do this? And when I say we show them, we don't give them a worksheet or a book to read. We give them skills, and we show them that we actually model, act it out for them. This is, if you were talking to your teachers, this is how I would do it. Okay, now you watch me, now I want you to try it. And the one thing that I've noticed, even when I do that with my teachers, adults hate that role play. It's uncomfortable. Now I'm pretending like there's a whole classroom of people, and it's just me and you. It can become very uncomfortable for them. And it was uncomfortable for me when I was learning it the first time. But something that my mentor told me is that, listen, I feel as uncomfortable as you, but we both know that this is something that's going to be helpful for the both of us. So listen, I know you feel goofy, I feel goofy too. Let's just feel that and move past it and actually practice this. And what has really changed my teaching and has also heavily impacted the way that I coach student teachers and school leaders is just getting past that. It's just understanding that it is going to be uncomfortable, and we mustn't act like it's not weird or this is a normal thing. Let's get through that, but also realize that these things are things that are going to be done physically in the classroom. So we've got to see it, practice it, and see how it's going to work, so that if we can mess up here, this is our place to mess up, so that when you're with the children, you can move like this. You have options if things don't go the right way. So essentially, that's what we do with our school leaders as well. We have in-person sessions with them, online sessions with them, and a lot of them really can sometimes feel intimidated by this, because they are people who've been in education for many years, and now they are being taught things that are completely new, and it's not always a great feeling for them. And that is another thing that you have to understand as a coach, as a mentor, is that people are not always going to be receptive to what you have to say, or always going to be open to the information you give them. And people can be very stuck in that this is what works, and I don't see a reason why I have to fix what's not broken.
Here's the question that I actually want to ask. How soon does one have to identify that, you know what, I'm just a teacher or I'm a student leader?
I love that. So teachers are essentially leaders in their classrooms. They are the ones who are essentially running things, right? So for someone who is a student teacher, for them to realize, because when you're student teacher, you're still observing, you're still learning, for them to realize that they are a leader, or they can be a leader, it honestly, nobody can tell you that you that is something that you know for yourself, that, you know what, I can actually handle doing 1, 2, and 3. I want to. And sometimes if they have like a lot of ideas to contribute, or they want to change things or try new things, that for me instantly says this person is a leader, and this person can be coached and developed into a position where they will be essentially coaching and developing people. That is essentially my story as well. When I moved to my new school, it was a whole different situation where the coaching and the mentoring was exactly what I needed, and they identified that in me. I was a student teacher, an apprentice teacher at my school, and they immediately saw that in me. I wasn't leading lessons, I was working with other teachers, but I did still have, lessons and things that I was doing, but they could see from the way that I was interacting with the children, from the way that I was planning the small lessons and activities that I did have, the way that the children were responding to me, the way that my other teachers were responding to me. They could instantly see that this is the kind of person that we want to develop as a teacher, and then when they are a teacher, we want them to show other teachers how we want to teach at the school.
Do tell me, because now it's a thing of identifying characteristics that speak to a leadership quality relevant for the school context.
100%.
So I was speaking to Tamlin Govender from Curo in episode 1 of the series, where she was talking about how she was so reserved to herself, even shy, but someone identified leadership qualities within her, unlike the traditional boisterous, the stereotypical idea of leadership. Let's zone into the qualities. What are the qualities that stand out for you as a coach when observing a teacher in action?
That's a great question. So the first thing for me that really stands out is not when I'm watching the teacher necessarily, it's in my conversation with them and how they receive feedback. The first thing is, like, if you are instantly resistant to it, that for me is, I don't want to say a red flag, maybe an amber orange flag, because it can be worked. We can work through that, but that already tells me that you are stuck in a certain way of thinking, and you don't feel like any new ways of thinking are going to better you in any way. And that is dangerous, because there's always something that could better you, right? So that for me is the first thing that will kind of catch me. So how you receive feedback, how you communicate with your children. You don't have to be this motherly, overly nurturing, oh, baby, my kids kind of a person to be a teacher. No, you don't have to be that, because honestly, that's not even teaching. I don't know what that is. But so the way that you communicate with your children, are you respectful? At whatever age you are teaching, are you able to respect the people that are in your classroom? Are you able to talk to them in a respectful manner? Do they respect you, or are they petrified of you? Because if they're petrified of you, there's something that's going on that, that is not obvious, and that is scaring the kids. You don't want children to be scared of you. So how you take feedback, how you receive feedback, how you interact with your children, with your class, the children in your class, are you respectful? For me, those are the first two things that pop out, and I'm like, okay, I immediately can see something in this person, because now not only do they take feedback really well, when we are having conversations, they are also going to contribute their ideas. It's going to become, a conversation, number one. Number two, already they understand that the children in their classroom deserve the same respect as another teacher walking in, as another adult. Already their mindset understands that these are human beings that are going to go into the world, that are going to be impacted by me every single day in my classroom. So I immediately love that. We were talking about the Montessori thing, and that's a big thing with Montessori, is like identifying or letting children understand that they are individuals who are capable of things. Just because they are in grade 2, doesn't mean that they can't do 1, 2, and 3. It's just that they've never been exposed to that. They don't have those skills. So Montessori gives children that space to be like, these are the things you're capable of doing. Show me what you can do, and I will fill in the gap and support you to give you the skills that you need. Yeah. So respect of your children and the way that you receive feedback are two very important things. All right. For me, yeah.
Yeah. So what are the usual issues that you find are consistent with teachers in training, right? What are the fears and the insecurities that often pop up within your interaction with teachers in practice?
So especially teachers that have not been teaching for a very long time, a lot of fear comes from, are they going to listen to me? A lot of teachers are scared that, children are just not going to listen to you and they're going to run amok. And I think really that comes from knowing what you want to say to them, what message you want to deliver, and how you deliver that message, and how they respond. So they are worried about the reception, that how are the children going to receive them. They are very worried about how they deliver the content. Are the children going to understand? Because they're teaching something they understand fully and have processed in their mind, but now you've got to explain it to someone who has never seen it before. So sometimes they worry, like, Am I delivering this in a way that is relevant to my learners?
Am I making sense?
Am I making sense?
Is the proverbial question. Am I making sense?
Am I making sense? Yes. So they're very that is something that comes up. And another thing that comes up a lot is their fear of interactions with older, more experienced teaching staff maybe at the school. Yes. They can find that very intimidating. Some people can be difficult to come and ask for help or whatever, so that also can be very intimidating, which it goes back to how the school leaders create that environment and that culture for new people to come in and be able to interact with everyone. So those are usually the main things that pop up, is like, am I going to be received well by the children? Am I going to be able to speak and get support from my colleagues? Yeah. And then lastly, am I making sense? Like, am I making sense? Do my children understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. So when we look at the teacher retirement wave that is edging to hit South Africa, and it's said to hit our country up until 2040. A University of Stellenbosch research paper I was reading. Do you think our education system is really deeply cognizant of the value of leadership training for teachers currently in this dispensation that you are in now?
I'm going to answer that, and I'm going to give you my personal opinion, not representing anyone that I work for or anything, but my answer is absolutely not. Not enough is being done. Not enough has been being done. Like, we have such a big gap. And the thing is that I don't want people to say that, no, we have meetings where, we have people from department coming in to do sessions, professional development, those sector meetings that happen once a term or once every 3 months, where sometimes teachers don't even go, and you have someone from the head of the district, someone from the district coming in to just tell you that, this is how we teach maths now, and you just have to teach children maths like this, and then the session is over. that does nothing, because if I don't understand or don't relate to what this district member is telling me, I'm going to go to school the next day. I'm going to teach my kids maths the way I've been teaching them.
Yeah.
I literally wasted my time going there. I don't think that it is intentional enough in terms of training. When they do have training, I don't think that they ask teachers to tell them what are your gaps, what are the problems that you are facing, so that we can address that in how we train and what we do in our training sessions. They don't ask teachers what do teachers need, what are the issues that are, what skills can I help you with in order to make your situation better. Not, change the whole school, but just impact your instruction and your classroom. I don't think teachers are asked that enough, because at some point teachers don't even know what is it that they need, what help they need, because they've just been swimming alone for so long. Now you're going to come out of the blue and tell me something new. No, where were you? You know what I mean? So I definitely don't feel like enough is being done. I don't feel like there's enough money that is being put into developing teachers. And that is why education has such a bottom of the barrel reputation. When you speak to young people going to university or coming out of university, it's not a lot of them who are like, I want to be a teacher, I cannot wait to go into education. I don't see that a lot. I remember when I was a teacher, I would tell people I'm a teacher. People would be shocked, like, why? Why are you a teacher? And it's like, what do you mean, why am I a teacher? I'm really, really good at my job and I'm impacting lives. But that's not the reputation that education has. And I fully believe it's because the government has not put enough weight behind developing teachers, teacher training. I don't feel like enough is being done.
Yeah, and the face of leadership in schools is changing gradually in South African schools, right? We're seeing the likes of Abongamte.
Yes.
We're seeing the likes of Osonges or Malangeni. We're seeing the likes of Ellen Makubane.
Yes.
We're seeing all of these young professionals who are taking up leadership positions. Do you think there is enough support in their excellence to, once they arrive to these positions, to be held in ways that matter?
I love that question, because I remember having this exact conversation with Alan. When I saw him, I was super excited about his role at the school. So I think that there's two ways that it can be, because sometimes I do believe that certain schools that are now bringing in this new blood, this younger, wave of leaders, of school leaders, sometimes I feel like it's a window shop thing. Like they're just putting it up there to show people that, hey, we're doing this too.
We're
inclusive. We're progressive. But when that person is in that role, there are so many blockages, and they are not free to really do the things that they are supposed to be doing in that job.
So do you think mentorship helps in understanding the bureaucratic red tape within institutions and how to work around those?
Oh yeah. You can't put somebody like that in that role and then just expect them to figure it out, or not show them or give them any kind of support. So definitely mentorship. That person will need mentorship to understand what exactly has been going on at the school. What do they want me to do now? How can I do that? Who's going to help me? Who's really going to hinder me? So it's important that even when you do that mentorship, there's still a space for it. So in one situation, it can be disheartening because you're not really giving these people the platform to really live to their full potential and really make a change as leaders in your school and your school governance. And on the other hand, I find it wildly exciting. I want to see younger school leaders. I want to see Black young people, taking in leadership roles a lot more in schools. I want schools to feel empowered to hire younger people to take up leadership roles, and not feel like, it's a whole situation of you have to be in a role for 37 years before you can be seen as someone who is credible even at the least. So it's exciting, Matabo. It's exciting because I feel like that is the one thing that is going to help us with this retirement wave that is coming. You know what I mean? The wave might be coming, but if this continues, we can definitely make up. You know what I mean? We're going to build up and have younger leaders in schools. But it's very concerning because, you know, you can have those people who are very staunch in what was, and they wanted to stay that way. So it's now blocking this new wave.
Yeah, of progress,
yes,
of contextually relevant leadership styles,
because we have to
teachings
progress.
that we have to
progress. Abantwana that are in school right now have seen a lot in the past couple of years. Like, they need a different kind of teacher. Their mindset is completely different to what we know. So we've really got to learn to adjust. Not to say, Bana, we go with everything that the kids are doing. No, but we have to study our children and understand what are things that are really hitting for them. What are things that are relevant for them? What are their issues? Instead of just going into the classroom and just doing what you want and not really avoiding that connection, that personal connection. We need young people to come in and take up space in school governance and school leadership. We need that desperately. We need that for the future of the children. Yeah. They need that.
Luna August says exactly, the need for contextually and personally relevant leadership and professional development is so important. And to speak about professional development within the education space, Kamakwini, I think a lot of people enter the space aspiring at very best to be head of school. What are other avenues that people aren't thinking about and taking into consideration where professional development is concerned?
Yes. So, you know, the trajectory is not necessarily, you know, school, head of school, principal anymore.
Yeah, it's not linear like
that. Yes. There's different avenues that people can take. And of course, it's contextual to your school as well. But, you know, there are opportunities for teachers to, in a school, you could be someone who is seen as the expert on that subject. So you will be like a head of department, but you will be specifically working with teachers in all grades in that subject. So maybe you are the grade 8 science teacher, but in that school you are someone who is really showing results in your learners and you have that leadership quality. Then you could be someone who is responsible for coaching and mentoring the grade 7 science teacher, the grade 6 science teacher. So that is an avenue that you can create yourself. You can also go into more instructional coaching like I did, which is something that I enjoy a lot, is because it's teaching about teaching. And I really love that because I have been a teacher, so I have that experience, but now it's like a meta experience, you know, where you're like going into it. So I really enjoy that because when I see teachers teaching, I already know what's going on in their heads. I know why they're saying that to the kids. I know why kids are sitting in that way. So now it's exciting for me because I am like, oh, this is great. She already does this. Now let me suggest something that's going to really amp up her classroom and her instruction. So that gets me really excited. I love to speak to teachers, observe teachers, be in their classroom space. I genuinely love that. So yeah, I'm sorry, I lost track of the question. Completely got lost.
And you were in the zone, and you know what, and it's on per still. It's still on per. That's all I have to say. It's still on per. In fact, what you're saying is a lovely
avenues. Okay.
Yeah, it's a great segue to my next question. You are a young person within the space, and looking at how leadership has been framed, it looks a particular age, but here you are, Kamakwini, who's mentoring people who are more or less her age.
Even older.
How is that experience for you?
Wow, it was very intimidating, very scary, Matabo. When I was in my first year of coaching, I was feeling very uncomfortable. I didn't feel confident. Some of my fellow teachers were looking at me like, "Oh, you're different now. You're not one of us." There's a very big us-them school of thought when it comes to schools and management and people who are in coaching and the teachers who are on the ground in the classroom. So it was very intimidating. I just had a lot of anxiety about it. I was nervous to speak to people. And my coach just said to me, listen, people are going to see you differently. So you're not going to be able to appease everyone when it comes to that. They're definitely going to see you differently. You've put on a different jacket now and you're going to have to act differently. So you can't anticipate to be the same person, and everybody's going to have to adjust because you are doing something that is putting you in a place that is going to empower them, and everybody's going to adjust. And I think once that clicked, I felt so much better because I was having real conversations with my teachers. And what I loved about that is that a lot of the teachers I was coaching were people I used to teach with, like they were next door in my classroom, or we were sitting together planning lessons. So that just made me feel like I have such a wonderful angle that can really make my connections deeper with people. And I had a wonderful time even coaching people who are older than me, because I didn't come in with that, I'm in charge now and I'm just going to tell you what to do. I came in as, can we have a conversation? I know that you have been teaching for 15 years and you are a fantastic teacher. I noticed one or two things that I feel like could make you a fantastic teacher.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But not even like trying to butter people up all the time. I just understood how to speak to people, and everybody is different and everybody has a different way that you can connect with them. So that was the key for me.
And respecting what they bring to the table.
Respecting what they bring to the table.
Because 15 years, that's not
a small thing.
It's not a small thing that.
Please. So you have to come in with that respect already, because Lomdo has been in this game for so I don't want people to ever feel like I don't respect what they're doing or what they've done for however long. My job is not to come and dismantle that. My job is to make it better. So you have to feel like you can be better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I hear you.
I definitely really enjoyed teaching, even working with people who are older and younger than me. And I think that I would probably encourage younger leaders, coaches, to really reach out and not avoid working with people that are older than you, because they could really teach you a lot more as well. That will add to your practice as well. So it's difficult at first. It's very difficult. It's intimidating as heck, but it's important work. And once you understand that this is more important than my nerves,
yes.
Yeah.
Then the job gets done. And I think I have a question that you have already touched on. When we're looking at leadership in any space, not just specific to the education space, but it's always looked at in these false dichotomies, right? Like this binary of older and younger.
Man, woman,
yeah,
black, white, yeah.
And in this case, we are looking at perhaps the older generation as being these gatekeepers who have never let us in before, and our time is now.
Break through.
We're gonna charge in, and we're gonna break the building down. You know what I'm saying? It's giving that, right?
Very much.
But tell us how, in your experience, you found that there has been intergenerational harmony in establishing leaders for schooling context.
Yes. So, yes, intergenerational harmony, intercultural harmony, interracial harmony is possible. It's possible, but it's very difficult to achieve. And really, Matabo, more than anything, it just comes from irrespect. How do you speak to abantu? How do you, like, what were you taught at home? You know what I mean? Like, that has what has worked for me more than anything. To show respect to people and make people feel like you're not talking down to them, you know, because they already feel like you're coming with that thing of you're going to talk down on them. And then you come through and you're just like super respectful on their level, just talking to a peer. And everything changes. I really do hate that the dichotomy that, you know, for you to be seen as a leader, you've got to be an old white man who has worked for so long. My former coach had a lot of resistance. She was an older, not older, She was like in her 40s. I don't think she was old, but she was a lot younger than the kind of leadership that we were used to at the school. And she was black, and she was a woman, and she was confident, and she wasn't like telling you what to do, but she was very much in charge, and she was leading. You know what I mean? She was she's a leader, Namaka. I love her. But she got a lot of resistance from the staff. I was one of those people. I was like, I don't like change. I don't like change at all, and I don't think I like what this lady is doing. I'm not sure, but I just observed, and I watched her, and I watched her build relationships one by one. Even the people that were like hard and like resistant, she came back. Good morning, how are you? Let's chat. Can I come to your class? You could see her working her way, chiseling through your through, and I really respected that, because that made me feel like this woman can see that I'm not feeling her, but she sees something in me, and she's like, I'm going to break through that wall, because I need to take this girl somewhere else. And where she is right now, it's not enough. I want to see her soar. So that became my thinking as well, was like, I know some people are not going to want to talk to me. I know some people are not going to like me. I know it's going to be difficult, but I'm going to push through, because I see something very, very important. And that is something that, is going to impact the lives of your children, and the next class that you're going to have, and the next teacher that you're going to coach. It's just very legacy vibes,
Giving legacy.
It's giving legacy, but it's like what you said about thinking ahead, and not only just being stuck in what's happening today, and understanding that I cannot teach like this today and expect to be teaching like this and be a leader and do all of these things while I'm still doing the same things. And for me to change, I need someone to come and show me, to come and teach me, to come and push me, so that I can be that person.
And the person that you're quoting here, Namaka, you said?
Yes.
That's incredible. In this country where structural oppression is deep-seated, even in the micro interactions, I would find it so incredibly difficult to have someone who's not receptive to me, and me not internalize it being, it's because I'm black and female that they're not listening to me, right? Yes. To be able to have the kind of foresight and wisdom to see, no, this is not yes, it can cloak itself as racism, it can cloak itself as whatever. Yeah. But this is a person who's insecure.
Yes.
Who's being challenged.
Not about me.
It's really about you. You're insecure that I'm coming with possibly a better idea that you're not equipped to absorb.
And I'm coming in looking in a way that you're not used to. I'm sounding a different way that you're not used to. So everything about me represents new and change. And it's a lot coming at that other person, you know what I mean? So the God is going to come up immediately, like, first of all, don't tell me what to do. So you as that person have to already be, like you said, like aware, bana, there's going to be certain layers that this person is going to be feeling that are going to look like I'm the problem. But Lomdu is just scared to learn something new. Lomdu is seeing me being younger than them, black, female, and smart, and knowing what I'm talking about and making sense, and actually giving them feedback that they can see make sense. It can be intimidating, Matabo. It can be a lot. So I have to go in already knowing, Bana, I'm coming in as a lot for Lomdu. Not to dim myself down, no. Just be aware, Bana, however that person reacts, baby girl, because you already know the things that are going through that person's mind. The minute you walk in and sit down, already their mind is like running. Bana, no. Yeah.
What advice do you have for young teachers who are, teaching in their classrooms, and they're being mentored, they're being coached, but there are fundamental philosophical differences between them and their mentors?
And it's going to be hard, but I'm going to say to them, speak up, my dear.
Wow.
Speak up. So if you cannot speak to your mentor, find someone that you can speak to. Because what's going to happen is that resentment is going to build up between you and your mentor. And you're not speaking about it. They don't know that maybe you disagree fundamentally, or they don't care, or whatever the case may be. But if you find that you cannot have a conversation to work through that, you need to find someone that you can speak to, because that person is going to drive you out of the school. You're going to hate your job. You're going to hate coming to school. You're going to take it out on the children. you need to find someone that you can speak to. I mean, that person is supposed to be your mentor, that first person. But if you cannot find your mentor, there has to be somebody at the school that you can feel that you can speak to mediate something. Because at the end of the day, you have to be good. You have to feel like you're not excited, but you're happy to be at school. You're feeling competent, confident, so that you can do your things for the day. But if you and your mentor teacher are having, are not getting along, or there's just very big differences, you need to either find a way to find a way through those differences, or there has to be a change.
Yeah.
There has to be a change. And people shouldn't be scared to change mentors. Like, sometimes you're just not on the same page with a person, and it doesn't matter what they say, what you say. It's just the energy is wrong. The vibes are not vibing.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't be scared to do that. You shouldn't be scared to change mentors. So that's why I say speak up and speak your mind. And from the beginning, while you are still a student teacher, don't be scared to ask questions. Speak up. Ask if things are not working right. If there's something you want to do, you want to start a little club, whatever. Always speak, because people are just going to feel like either you're not interested in contributing, or you're just like a doormat and you're going to say yes to everything.
Yes.
So find the courage, my student teachers, find the courage deep down to be able to find your voice and speak up. Speak up.
What is the value? Because also when you're thinking of leadership, it's always leading from the front, right? We see it, we get it, we know it. What is the value of leading from the back, and even the space in between the front and the back?
Yes. Oh, the value from that is that, from the back, from wherever, outside of leading from the front, I think the value is that you can see things differently. You can see things from a different angle. And what I mean by that is, when someone is being a leader, from the front, and it's obvious, there are many things that there are characteristics about them that we see and we're like, oh, I believe this person is going to do this, or whatever the case may be. But if you are like quietly leading from the back, you have a lot more time to observe. You have a lot more time to think through things that might not necessarily come up if you are always on the front and always being the leader. So I feel like it gives you a lot of reflective time, which is important to reflect. When I stand up in front and I lead from the front and I say 1, 2, and 3, how is this person at the back or in the middle like receiving it? How do they feel about the way that I lead? Am I connecting with people? So you have that chance to really reflect. And I think sometimes when you are leading from the front, your mind is so stuck on what you have to do and how you have to be a leader all the time, you might not give yourself enough time to really reflect on how you do it. So there is value definitely in leading from behind, in leading in quiet ways. You don't have to be loud to be a leader. And I feel like sometimes that makes a deeper impact than being obvious front, I'm leading. Leadership, it looks very different, in a school. It's not necessarily just the principal. There's many different leadership qualities that teachers possess in the school. You know what I mean? They should be the ones who also are speaking on policies at the school and code of conduct and things like that. Those things should change. Code of conduct shouldn't be from 1960, please. We are in 2020, and teachers should be able to have a say in that. Contextually, they are the ones who live that life, who see how children are. They are able to make a suggestion on like, this doesn't work anymore, this is not practical. So leadership doesn't have to be the traditional way that we know, especially in a school environment.
Yeah. I'm going to make a case for my bold leaders, right?
Yeah.
People who speak out. Yeah. People who put their foot first. Foot first. Inya wasn't getting happy. They put their heads up. I was like, foot first? Inya was getting happy. They put their hand up when an opportunity comes to serve the interests of a team and a vision. what advice could you give to them when they feel like all these eyes are on them and there's a kind of expectation that they have to live up to, even when they are shattering inside, even when they are scared inside? There is no room for them. There's no room for Kamakwini, who's outspoken, articulate.
Have you been speaking to my therapist?
Who sent me? There is no space for these charismatic individuals to actually have a moment to just breathe and articulate fear, articulate vulnerability without it taking away from their reassuring presence to their team.
Oh, Mataba, that is still something I'm trying to figure out, girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is something I'm still trying to figure out for sure. It can be it can make you feel very lonely. It can be very isolating because people anticipate that you're going to act like this. People expect you to act like this because you are now the bold person. I guess you're always putting your hand up to ask questions. So now why aren't you asking questions? You know, like people can put a lot on you, and sometimes it could be a situation where everybody agrees with you, but no one wants to say anything. So if you say something, you know, there'll be murmurs of, But if something goes wrong, you are in the firing line, and everybody else is like,
it's like in assembly. It's like in assembly when a teacher stands and says, "Keep quiet." That murmur.
Yes. Then they're like, Matabo, and all of your friends, they were murmuring with you.
Murmuring together. What's going on? And the whole thing now is resting on your shoulders.
Yes.
Like, what kind of advice can you give to them?
It's heavy. Like it sits. What is that Bible verse? Heavy is the
head that wears the crown.
You know?
Is it the Bible though?
Is it the Bible?
It feels like
from the Bible.
Okay.
I mean, I know Kanye said it, but I felt like he got it from the Bible. Anyways, the point is that when you are that kind of person, and your personality is naturally to speak up, and you're not shy and you're bold, it can be very exhausting because you now have created, not that you've created it, but people have now are anticipating this from you and are expecting this from you. So my advice to all the bold girls and guys and theys out there, you need to take care of yourself. And I know, sometimes things around mental health can often sound like very surfacey and that like people are just throwing around buzzwords. But you really got to take care of yourself because that stuff you're going to bring home. So you've got to find a way where you can, when you are clocking in emsebenzini, you are clocking in with all of those things. But when you go home, please, you've got to leave izinto zasemsebenzini
and work.
I think that is what helped me more than anything. I would definitely have moments of feeling like it's hard being the one who speaks up all the time. Because now I'm in the firing line. People are calling me difficult or unapproachable, or Kamagwini, she's always got pushing back. Now it's heavy on me. You know what I mean? But the thing is that I have valid things to say. I have valid questions to ask. And so something as woes because it's my job, it's my life, it's my kids. Yeah. But it can be heavy, Matabo. That thing can be very heavy on you. And it can make you feel lonely and isolated, like you don't have anyone who's supporting you, has your back. So that's why I'm saying, Bana, find ways to take care of yourself and find way to make sure, Bana, you leave it there.
Yeah.
When you go home, your home is your space to now debrief everything and not think about work. Like there must be a fine line, and that's a very tough thing for people in education. We love to mark over the weekends. We love to just let school and work infiltrate our lives, especially with working from home. So you've got to have those boundaries where you're like, it's 3:00, I'm done with work, I'm going to go watch Real Housewives of Atlanta. You know what I mean?
Because I said what I said.
We good.
We good. Yeah, no, I hear you completely, Kamagwin. And I think as the Jakes Carvel Fellowship, we really take seriously the idea of wellness. Yes. We really want our teachers to be well taken care of in a country that is yet to truly give teachers their flowers.
Hallelujah.
We really want our candidate fellows to feel empowered enough to make those decisions for themselves as to what works for them, what brings life to them, what gives them wealth. So for leaders who feel like they are the chest that takes the bullets, if you will, it's also very important to find people who understand you outside of a professional context,
Yes.
who are able to hold you when you, I suppose, break, and who are able to see you as a human being, in that context as well. Yeah. So thinking about the leadership deficit in this country, Kamakwini, broadly, right? The more we speak here, the more my heart almost chants, protect our schools, protect our classrooms, and order plays a huge role in that. Leadership plays a huge role in that. Do you think there are ways that teachers can protect their learners from mismanagement, like governmental mismanagement? Because a lot of our candidate fellows and teachers everywhere in the country find themselves in different kinds of classrooms. Classrooms that are reliant on state support. Some schools more than others, but specifically for teachers that are in spaces where they are teaching, where the state plays an incredible role in the sustenance of their environment. Do you think leadership, effective leadership, can almost shield that school from the impact of mismanagement, which affects also the esteem of children?
Yes. Effective management can definitely do that, Matabo. Effective management, a school that is managed effectively cannot change the entire education, system in South Africa, but you can definitely protect your school, your classrooms, your children. I think, and I've seen that. I've worked at a school that was heavily reliant on government funding, and we didn't have it, and we didn't have the effective leadership and management to make things run. You know what I mean? I remember we had one woman, Umama, everybody called her Umama, but she was sort of like she was the code of conduct disciplinarian person at the school. And she was a very strict woman, but everybody respected her, and the kids always did what she asked. No matter what grade they're in, she always just ran things with order amongst the chaos of the school, because the school was in utter chaos. But anytime you walked into her classroom, anytime she was with children, it was like those kids come from a different school. It's completely different school. So yes, it is possible where effective management and leadership can do that to protect children. The problem is that, do they care? Do they care enough to see that these schools are schools that are dependent on us? These are the things that we can do to protect those children, to protect that school. Do they care? This is why I feel like not enough is being done for teacher training and whatever. I have mad beef with the government when it comes to like education and stuff, because I do feel like it's not even just a matter of teachers not being given their flowers. We really have been pushed to the wayside. We really have just been pushed to the wayside, and we've just been told to, it feels like we've been told to just sort ourselves out, and not make too much of a noise while the government deals with other things. And it's like, no. We need effective leadership. It is possible, Matabo, but it can be very difficult at the same time. It's possible, but it's very difficult, and I don't think that I've seen it enough to feel like.
How does the government impact school leadership? So not necessarily governance structures like the PTA or SRC or whatever it is that respective school calls it, but the actual leadership quality that's in the school. How does government impact that?
I think it's not a direct impact in that sense. I feel like it's sort of indirect, in the sense that if the school is heavily reliant on government resources or whatever, and the government is falling behind on providing that will impact the school, in the sense that, okay, now teachers have to run around to make up for resources. That is putting an amount of pressure on them now, and stress on them, because they have to complete the syllabus and they don't have textbooks for the syllabus, and the government hasn't bought the textbooks for the syllabus. So they can directly impact in that way, but it also goes a lot deeper in the sense that people lose any kind of trust in being led. They lose any kind of faith in being led, or you know what I mean. They don't want leadership anymore because they've just seen nothing impactful or helpful happen to them, and so they just feel like we're on our own.
So essentially, the leadership is a response mechanism to crisis, as opposed to it being leadership for creating, sustaining, nurturing a kind of healthy institutional culture. Trauma response, essentially. Yeah, a lot of leadership, a lot of quality leadership, a lot of quality leadership strategies are being relegated to crisis management due to non-action by government. Okay, now I see the thread
because
there.
we're not even thinking progressively, we're thinking reactively. We're not thinking ahead, Bana. That might be a problem. So let's figure out before that becomes a problem. We wait for things to happen and then the problem comes sitting on our lap. Now we've got to react to solve the problem when it could have been avoided completely if there was forethought. You know what I mean?
And there's no time to think forward. Forward thinking is not, it's a luxury in other contexts as well, because we're thinking quite literally bread and butter politics
every day. I just want to get through to the next day. And
do you think then, how effective would mentorship be for a teacher that is in that context?
Oh, that would be saving that teacher, even if it's one teacher in that school who has a solid mentor, because that is the person that is going to keep you, I don't want to say interested, but that's going to keep you passionate. Because when there is chaos around you, when other teachers have given up and they're just not showing up to classes, and things are just running amok, that mentor is the person that's going to keep you focused, that's going to keep you like, listen, yes, all of this is going on, but let's keep our eyes over here and let's do what we have to do. And you might feel like, it's only my 30 kids that are going to receive this because I'm getting because I have a mentor, but it's going to impact, because you're going to be staying at the school, it's going to impact that class. Next year when you come back, it's going to impact those kids. Like the impact is deep, so you shouldn't, it's difficult to see the impact when you're in it. Like, it's difficult to understand that you are changing lives when you're sitting in the classroom with 12 textbooks and 30 kids are looking at you like, where's my book? It's very difficult to think, okay, I'm impacting lives, I've got to find a way to make, it's despondent, you know what I mean? But I really feel like that the mentor and the relationship that you have with your mentor can really keep you, it can be your anchor. Your anchor, it can really keep you stable when things are just going crazy around you.
Because your passion was never there for one specific school. That might not be the first and only school you ever go to, right? And the governance structures within the school are there to manage an institution, not to necessarily keep your fire alive as a practitioner.
That's not their main.
That's not their main.
Not top of their list. No.
And it's not their job, period. Yeah. They're not trained for that in any shape or form. So mentorship is that it's fanning the flame, essentially, which can be snuffed out by
so many things.
So many things.
The list is endless, and it can be small things, it can be big things, but yes.
All right, and it's also there to keep you accountable, because you keep saying it's about the children.
It's about the children.
It's about
so
the
let
learner.
Me show up.
Whether you are 5 months in or 15 years in, what connects us, the interests of these children.
That's why we're all here. Yeah.
Tell me, how fast is the world moving where the classroom is concerned? We are young ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, we're not old.
We're not old. But the way things are moving and the kind of exposure that children have in this day and age, do you think teachers are catching up to what it is that they learners are going through and experiencing and seeing?
Yeah. I feel like things were moving at a steady pace. But I think when COVID hit and children could not go to school and schools had to find a way to keep school going, that for me, I feel like really sped things up, because now people had to learn how to have meetings, Google meetings with your kids, and you had to, parents had to jump in now and be a lot more hands-on if they weren't already, with checking, because everybody's at home. I think that time really sped things up. I remember a lot of rapid changes happening at my school with my teachers, and them having to now learn how to use things to mark and set work online, and it was a lot of information for my teachers, and it was a lot of demand. You're at home, you're dealing with COVID, you're learning something new, you're marking. It was a lot, and I feel like that really sped things up for my teachers, because the teachers were learning a lot of technological things from the kids, and kids were like, we be knowing this. So I really also feel like teachers felt like, I don't even know what to do. Like, I'm struggling to catch up. And I noticed that the younger teachers, the student teachers, were the ones who quickly clicked on to things, and they were like, oh no, you can also try this and this and this. And so that helped the teachers who didn't feel like they were as apt to catch up.
And that also contributes to a lot of teachers leaving the teaching profession.
Yes.
Because
I didn't come here to learn how to work on a computer. I came here to teach abantwana. Please.
Double clicking.
Right click.
Right click is not what I'm here for. Give me Shakespeare.
Give me a board.
Give me a board. Give me chalk. What happened to chalk? Right? And it might sound light, but the digitization of the classroom.
Matawa, it's gone way too fast for our country, for the state that our education system is in. That period really took things back for a lot. And I think about schools in the Eastern Cape, schools, in Natal, that are like rural schools where people are likely to have a cell phone. What were those children doing? What were those teachers doing for all that time? How were they going to write exams? Like, it really showed the gaps. And even the school that I was working at, it wasn't it was a private school, so the children there are children who are middle class. Even the gaps started to show within there, because parents had lost jobs. Now people don't have Wi-Fi or data to be online the whole day, to do homework, to attend lessons. So now the school had to find a way to fill in those gaps. And those are things that the school had never even considered. That was none of our business.
What are the class indicators? Wow.
Hello.
Yeah.
So it just opened my eyes to a lot of things that were already there, where I was just like, wow, this is a lot. Things are moving very, very quickly. And my worry was that if teachers are feeling like they are behind, how are they going to feel confident that abantwana, they are taking them to the next class or to the next exam with confidence? They've really taught them what they need to know. And how do teachers now make that connect? Because there's a big divide between them when it comes to digital, the digital world, and the kids in the classroom. So how do they make that connect? Because kids were finding different ways to cheat or be sneaky, because they know. And the teachers were missing that. And so, things are moving very, very fast digitally. And our children are at a pace that is... Children are like doing a lot of things on TikTok that I am learning from. And I'm like, when I was 16 years old, and they are teaching me something I had never known before. They are doing things on this app that I'm still learning how to get the clips to go one after the other. Do you understand? So things are moving at a very fast pace. And this is why, again, I say not enough is being done to train teachers. Why are there not enough training sessions or whatever? Why is there no money going into helping teachers move with the digital times? Where's that? It's not there, because people are still teaching under trees.
And
that's why it's not there.
That's the reality. And in a time of crisis, mentorship is there to stabilize teachers and to remind them of the value of their calling. And even when things are at best going well. It is a time where mentors are there to teach you not to be complacent, even in your spaces of privilege. You still need to learn, right? And at JGF, Kamagwini, we say be a teacher. You're going to tell us why we should be a teacher. Tell us, why is it imperative, why is it important for people to be teachers?
It's important, it's imperative for people to be teachers because you are making an impact you cannot even begin to imagine. You are making such a deep impact. You cannot even begin to imagine the years that will go on. There will be generations of kids who know who you are. And so that for me makes me feel like if I'm making such an impact, I gotta be on my P's and Q's. I need to know what I'm doing, what I'm talking about. I've gotta be up to, like, I have to do it right if I'm going to make this impact. So be a teacher because you want to make an impact. Be a teacher because it's corny, but you change lives, my guy. Yeah. You really do. And that is something for me that is like a personal thing, like a personal value of mine. Is I find a lot of importance and a lot of connection when I build relationships with people, and teaching helped me do that with my kids, with my colleagues. Mentoring helps me do that with my peers, with other teachers. So for me, it's the human connection is really, really important. So that is what's waking me up every day. That is my passion. So please come from a place of passion. If you're going to be a teacher, come from a place of passion, because honey, the point you already know. So come from a place of passion, come from a place of, I want to make a change. I want to impact people. I want to teach someone something new. I want to change someone's life.
It's giving legacy.
It's giving legacy. It's giving generational icon. I don't know.
Yeah, 1,000%, Kamagwini. We as an organization are so grateful for your wealth of knowledge that you so generously deposit to us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Matty. I love working with you guys. I love chatting with you guys, talking to you guys. So thank you for having me. I'm super excited. This was really great.
Lovely stuff. Betuna, as you know, if you want to continue the conversation, we are on social media platforms. On YouTube, it is Jakes Gravel Fellowship. Facebook, it's Jakes Gravel Fellowship. Instagram _ Jakes Gravel Fellowship. On Twitter, it is at JG Fellowship on Twitter. And if I have this wrong in any shape or form, Tuli is going to give me the side eye, but it's all good. Just go to our Instagram and you will get all the deets there that you need. I am Mata Witladi, and I will see you next time.